Welcome to Flashback Files. As we close the year, I wanted to do something different, something grounding. Over about 6 weeks from the time this episode comes out, I've recorded episodes that trace my own early career missteps, money mistakes, confidence collapses, and the internal rebuild that followed. But I've also had three remarkable young adults join me. There's Sonia, who's navigating uncertainty, pivots, and finding fulfillment. Sergio, who journeyed through engineering, co-op, and a 7-year PhD. And then there's Isha, whose story blends identity, discipline, Toastmasters mastery, and emotional intelligence. And when I stepped back and looked at everything, my story, their stories, I realized something, that we're not as far apart as we think. The generation gap isn't a gap at all. It's a timeline. And every single person walks through the same emotional checkpoints. So today I wanted to share three things. One, what I learned about myself through my solo episodes. Two, what our three guests taught us. And three, the universal themes that show up in both, proving early adulthood is more shared than we realize. What I learned through my own episodes, when I revisit my own stories, the difficult internship, the performance issues, the early financial confusion, and the fear of falling behind, a few themes show up again and again. So first, I thought I was behind, but I was actually early. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I felt pressure to impress people who weren't even thinking about me. I measured my worth through performance and sometimes took shortcuts that made things worse. Looking back, I realized that's not failure, it's just youth. Second, confidence is not a trait, it's a skill you start to build and then you continue to rebuild it. I wasn't born confident. I initiated confidence and I'm still rebuilding it as we go. And that journey continues through constant reflection, routine, small wins, and owning my mistakes instead of hiding from them. Confidence isn't who you are, it's what you practice. That's let's say the mantra I keep telling myself. And lastly, money confusion is more common than money clarity. So one of my episodes, I talked about debt and the management of money, and it revealed something to me. I didn't grow up with financial literacy. That was an obvious one. And unfortunately, but fortunately, I would say, I learned through mistakes, even expensive ones. But looking back, those mistakes were instructions, not indictments. Money didn't define my identity. It's more about how I was responding to the confusion and challenges around it that really helps with my identity. Leadership begins with self-awareness, not titles, not promotions, not approval. My early career taught me this. You can't lead anyone until you can lead yourself. And leadership can often start through the moment you stop blaming systems, circumstances, and other people and start making decisions from within. What did our guests teach us? Well, we have Sonia, Sergio, and Isha, three completely different paths, backgrounds, ambitions, and academic journeys. And yet their stories overlap in surprising ways. So there's Sonia. She started university during COVID, not knowing what she wanted to do. She balanced between banking, investment interviews, burnout, marketing, and entrepreneurship. And she was honest. Out of 10, her clarity was a -1. But here's what she did have. She had curiosity, a willingness to pivot, humility to reset, and courage to try things that didn't make sense on paper. And she discovered something powerful. You don't find clarity, you build it, one decision at a time. And then there's Sergio. On paper, his story looks linear. He had an undergrad, co-op, PhD. But emotionally, it was anything but. He admitted to struggling with the sudden intensity of university, uncertainty about co-op, financial realities that came along with postgraduate education, questioning himself often, and having no mentor during the hardest years. What was his superpower? Perspective. Careers aren't linear. You learn your way into direction. And his message to his younger self was simple: enjoy the step you're in because it won't come again. And then there's Isha. Her story is rich with emotional intelligence. She talked about 16 years of dance shaping her discipline, Toastmasters building her confidence at age 11, navigating culture, family expectations, and identity, struggling silently during her transition to university, learning that no one holds you accountable in adulthood but you. Her insight on self-leadership: it's simply the ability to respond to your life, your emotions, your obstacles. Her clarity score was a 7. Wasn't a 10, not certainty, just the next step. And that's enough. So the themes that connected all of us, after reviewing all of the episodes, mine and theirs, these 8 universal truths emerged. 1, nobody knows what they're doing at 18 to 25 years of age. At least nobody knows 100% what they're doing at that age. Everyone across generations is improvising. 2, confidence is built through reps, not personality. Every guest described confidence as something learned, not inherited. 3, adversity shapes identity more than success does. My internship, their academic struggles, my money mistakes, their burnout. Growth didn't come from achievement, it came from challenge. 4, external influence shapes early decisions. Parents, this could be culture, prestige, peers. Everyone starts their adult life carrying someone else's expectations before discovering their own. The sooner you discover your own, the better off you're going to be. And just a little more clarity you might have. 5, routine is a universal survival tool. Every single person talked about structure in their own ways, whether it be waking up early, going to the gym, scheduling, creating systems, building repeatable habits. Routine can be seen maybe as the scaffolding of self-confidence. 6, networking only works when it's human, not transactional. Sonia learned this maybe the hard way. Sergio mastered it through curiosity, and I learned it through just personal, straight up experience. 7, your first job does not define you. Every guest is now doing something different from what they first imagined. And I am too. Your 20s aren't for picking your forever, they're for experimenting. So enjoy it. And 8, reflection is the missing ingredient in early adulthood. This entire podcast, the flashback concept, exists because when we look back, we see more clearly. Reflection is how you diagnose your story so you can rewrite it. So as we close the year, here's the message I want to leave you with. You're not behind, you are not late, and you're not supposed to have it all figured out. You are walking the same emotional path every generation before you has walked. Uncertainty, doubt, identity formation, trial and error, small wins, small losses. You're rebuilding through relearning. The only difference is you get to do it with more self-awareness and more tools than we did. When I think again about this whole mission of this podcast, I do want to point out this is purely a passion project. This is something I thoroughly enjoy doing. It comes from maybe a sense of curiosity that I have. And it's also an opportunity to provide younger adults who are going through the post-secondary and early career challenges with a platform to just have a listen and maybe see some similarities and know that you're not the only one out there going through challenges, and to give you a sense of that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And that will come through guests that are currently going through it with you. So there's a sense of connection and camaraderie, but it's also going to come through guests that have gone through it and have maybe a decade or two under their belt that can relate back and then also give you maybe a sense of what the future might hold for you. So if this podcast has reached one person and has positively affected them, then my job is done. The whole why is just to have an impact and just have a connection with those out there that might, need a platform like this to just listen to and maybe pick up a thing or two along the way. Thank you for listening, questioning, reflecting, and being brave enough to face your past so you can build your future. I'm Josh. This is Flashback Files. I wish you and yours a happy holiday and a very, very safe, healthy, prosperous new year.